Hello and welcome. So today's video is going to be about the worst royal weddings. Now these weddings are my personal opinions and I've tried to choose some that goes from basically the bride's dress being too big to actually dying on your wedding day. So Marie Antoinette and King Louis married in 1770. She was just 14 years old when they married and he was not much older. So Marie Antoinette and Louis only met for the first time a couple of hours just before they got married. And because this was the first time that they had met and Marie Antoinette basically just got into France, her measurements had been sent on ahead so a dressmaker could make her wedding dress for her. But the dressmaker could not read Marie Antoinette's measurements properly. So when she finally got her dress, it was too big for her. But because she'd only just arrived in France and you're basically getting married straight away, there was no time to sort it out. So she got married in a too big dress. So their wedding night wasn't all that great either. First of all, there was all this big performance about them actually going to bed together. And then once they were in bed together, the marriage was not consummated, and it wasn't consummated for a long time. So there is some speculation about why this is. Some people reckon that King Louis may have had something wrong with his penis, and other people reckon that he basically just didn't know what he was meant to do and she didn't know what she was meant to do. So Augusta and Frederick were the parents of King George III of Great Britain. When Augusta came to Britain for her wedding to Frederick, she could not speak a word of English, and like Marie Antoinette, she was basically getting married straight away. So Augusta was really nervous about her wedding, and she was so nervous that she ended up being sick all over her dress, and she also ended up being sick all over her new mother-in-law's dress. Now, Frederick didn't exactly get on with his parents, who was King George II and Queen Caroline, so this incident sort of made things a bit worse. But it didn't affect Augusta and Frederick's relationship. They stayed together and had many children. So Catherine and Peter's marriage was like practically all royal marriages and was for political reasons. The wedding ceremony went okay, but the wedding night did not. So Peter was rather an eccentric and erratic person, and he actually preferred getting drunk and playing with his toy soldiers, which were actual toy soldiers, not a euphemism for something else. So on their wedding night, Peter showed up to their room really drunk, and instead of consummating the marriage, he asked Catherine to play toy soldiers with him, the actual toy soldiers, and not an euphemism for something else. Apparently Peter never actually consummated their marriage, so that must mean that Catherine's children were... So George and Caroline married in 1795. It was a marriage of political means, but also for George it was a marriage of convenience because Parliament said that they would pay off his debts if he married Caroline. So their first meeting did not go well. Caroline commented on how George looked nothing like his portrait, and he commented that she absolutely smelt. On their wedding day, George got so drunk that he couldn't stand up, so he basically had to be propped up at the altar by some friends of his. He also cried all the way through the ceremony. The wedding night was not so great either. George was so drunk that he fell asleep in an empty fire grate. After the birth of their only child, the couple separated and embarked on lots of infidelity and scandalous goings-on. Henry and Margaret married in 1572. They married during the French Wars of Religion between the Catholics and the Huguenots. Henry was a Huguenot and Margaret was a Catholic. Their marriage was meant to be an attempt of a reconciliation between the two religions, but things did not go to plan. Now, their wedding brought a lot of Huguenots and Catholics into close proximity. And a few days after the wedding, while the wedding feast was still going on, Catholics in Paris massacred 3,000 Huguenots in what became known as the St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre. but the bloodshed over their marriage did not separate Henry and Margaret. When King Henry of Navarre became King Henry IV of France, he became a Catholic, and in 1598 he granted religious tolerance. Now, there's nothing that would put a damper on your wedding day than you dying, which is exactly what happened to Attila the Hun on his wedding day to his wife Ildiko. At some point after the wedding ceremony, Attila died, his new wife being the only person that was with him. Due to the fact that there was no wounds anywhere on his body and the fact that no cause of death has officially been recorded for him, people have speculated about Attila's cause of death. Some reckon that he died of natural causes, some reckon that he had internal bleeding, while others reckon that Ildiko bumped him off. So that was my little list of what I think were the worst royal weddings. I did try to get a broad spectrum of them. Are there any other royal weddings that you think were really bad? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.